Hi, I'm Lynette. I'm just gonna give you my informative speech on the Girl Scout murders. This took place in the summer of 1977. Three girls arrived at a camp. It was called Camp Scott. That's where they were going to spend the next few weeks, surrounded by the rest of the Girl Scouts. As soon as they set foot on the campground, I would say that the clock started ticking for them. What would be the fate of these three young girls, and what would have been a promising and supposedly safe experience, how did it turn tragic? So I'm going to inform the class of COM 110 on the Oklahoma Girl Scout murders. I'm going to give a brief explanation on who the girls were, the crime that the victims were of, and the outcome of who committed this horrible crime. So the three girls were Laura Lee Farmer, Michelle Goose, and Doris Denise Milner. These girls were the ones who fell victim to the murders. This was an annual Girl Scouts trip. And it was supposed to last for 2 weeks. One interesting and eerie thing was that Denise was very shy, and she was kind of like an introvert. Her mother really wanted her to take this risk and get out of her comfort zone and go to this trip, this summer camp, but she was really hesitant. She just had this feeling like she didn't want to go. I found that really strange. So right there, I just gave you a little bit of what that was and where it took place. Now I'm going to cover the circumstances in which the girls' bodies were found. So it was just the first night that this took place. That night, once everybody fell asleep, this is when the girls heard this disturbance outside of their tent. So the next morning, unfortunately, they were found not in their tent, but wrapped in sleeping bags about 100 yards away. 2 were bludgeoned to death and 1 was strangled. Some of the campers had heard moans from the victims' tent and saw a flashlight that was shining through the tent, but they couldn't really make up what that was. Now I'd gone over all the deaths and the suspicious activity that was reported. The main suspect of who might have committed the crime was Gene Leroy Hart. He was tried but not found guilty. In 2008, his DNA evidence suggested, or the DNA evidence suggested that a woman might have been linked to this, but there was also no leads to this and no arrests. Since then, Camp Scott has been shut down and has never reopened. The area is now used for hunters who lease the land. Now I've covered the suspect and the current situation of the case. So in conclusion, I discussed the Girl Scouts who fell victim. I discussed how they were found, how they died, and I discussed the suspect, or who we thought was the suspect of this case. Now, there were 2 parents of the victims that went on to bring justice to the girls. One parent went on to pass the Oklahoma's Victims' Bill of Rights, and another parent founded the Oklahoma chapter of Murdered Children. So that's really it, and I hope you enjoyed this little bit of weird history.